Fighter's on. We have a special guest today, a guy who is helping the fighting community a lot. He came to talk with us because I want to ask a couple of things about, because they do the fighting in a different way, in the old school way. I remember old times when we used to be men and we go and fight and they go to the street and they fix the situation. Okay, these people is bringing the old school of fighting back. In a place that you go, you shine inside, it's not a ring, it's not an octagon, it's something even crazy. It's a triangle, right?
Triangle.
And today I'm with Greeg Bloom. So with that last name, you know something good's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So, CEO of BYB, Extreme Championships, no?
Extreme Fighting Series.
Extreme Fighting Series. So I have the privilege to have you here, and I have some of my guys here at the gym fighting on BYB. And let me tell you, it was BYB 27 was the last one, right?
23.
23 was the 2 weeks ago.
Yep, January 18th.
And I have Jordan Fuente who trained here,
Mhm.
the crocodile.
Crocodile.
Uli Monster is a friend from a long time.
Right.
And I was there covering the fight, and it's so exciting. It's the rush. I don't remember when the last time that I feel when I went to see an event, like if I'm going to fight too, because it was for me it was almost the same feeling. So Greeg, welcome.
Thank you very much.
And before everything, I want to say thank you in the name of all the fighters to have something, some place that we can go and do what we do.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure.
All right, Greeg. Tell me a little bit about BYB, how you started, why you started the idea of the triangle and all that stuff.
Well, I came in sort of halfway through. The Trigon and the idea of it was created by Dada 5000, Mike Vasquez, Jose Solis, who saw that Dada was putting on these events in his backyard, and they were getting so big that the Florida Commission eventually came to him and said, hey, you gotta stop doing this. If you want to do this, we have to do it the right way. So he was introduced to Mike Vasquez, who came up with this idea upon some meetings with Dada to create something unique that would be a separator for bare knuckle fighting as opposed to MMA or kickboxing or regular boxing. So they came up with an idea of a three-sided equilateral triangle where people would fight, and the reason was because in a ring, in a square ring, you could move out laterally. In a circle or an octagon, you could circle out. In a trigon, when you're stuck in the corner, there's only one way out, and that's going forward. So over time, this was back in about 2014, 2015, they put together and patented and received the patent on the trigons.
2015?
Yeah, yeah. Before the first actual first bare knuckle fight was legalized.
Right.
They were already working on the trigon and working on BYB.
Right.
So, as we like to tell the public, which is the truth, BYB is really the original bare knuckle entity, not the competition, not all these other guys who are suggesting it, but BYB was the first one to start actively pursuing bare knuckle fighting. Yeah, so they created this triangle ring, and over time, as it started to become legal, first it was in Wyoming, then it was in Florida, and now it's expanded to about 24 states in which it's legal, and I think by the end of 2024 we'll probably see it in about 35 to 40 states. So, you know, they came up with this interesting idea of this triangle ring, and it's sort of taken off from there. So I got involved, I'm a sports and entertainment attorney by trade. So I was actually introduced to Mike back in 2019, and I was the attorney for the company. But over time, it started catching up so much momentum that Mike, who runs a separate business, couldn't really keep up with the demand that BYB was
Yeah,
generating.
people doesn't have an idea. They think, I'm gonna do an event because how many people do you know that? Yeah, I'm gonna do it. There is so many things. It's crazy the amount of time that you need to do something like that. No? I was involved in some things in Argentina, in my country, and not the level of BYB or BYB and other events here, and it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts to an event, especially when you're doing live events, especially when you're doing live televised events.
You have to get everything on time, set up.
Yeah, there's production, there's lighting, there's getting the fighters ready. There's a lot that goes into it.
And
So,
I know the fighters. I'm in business in fighting since I was 9 years old.
right.
So almost 40 years.
Uh huh.
And I think that is the hardest part because they are such of divas.
Oh my goodness.
You know that.
Yes, it's babysitting.
It's very simple.
It's babysitting, and I've been in the combat sports world for about 21 years. So I've sort of seen it all, and I've worked in every facet of the game. You know, I was a manager. I've promoted over 80 live events. I've been even a ring announcer at one point.
Ooh.
Yeah, and an attorney, obviously, for fighters. So
You know it from all the angles.
I know it from all the angles. So Mike, you know, when he got to a certain point, he said, "Listen, I need someone who understands this business from sort of every angle,
Yes.
and I need someone who could assist us, and I could hand the baton to, and he could help blow this up."
And also the legal part. Right?
And
That's very
yeah,
important.
of course, the legal part especially. So we met about it. He was gracious in offering me the position,
Right.
and I had seen a live BYD fight, and to me, in all my years of doing this, I've never seen a live combat sports event like what BYD puts on. Fighting in the Trigon, the sound of the bare knuckle hitting someone, it's just totally different than
It's
anything.
another world.
Another world, totally different than anything I've ever seen. I was so intrigued by it, I dropped everything. You know, I was in-house counsel for Combate Global
Oh, yeah.
for 9 years, and so I stepped aside from that role. You know, I helped them from the beginning, and we were growing at a very rapid pace there. I put my law firm to the side, and I said, this is where I have to be because this is the future.
So the people that said, we have another person here, I guess. The guy who is involved with you too.
I know this guy.
Are you gonna sit down here or where are we?
Should I sit down?
You can sit down, yeah. You're a friend, right?
Yeah, I'm a friend.
I think you know both of us.
A little bit, yeah. I know. I got to both my bosses.
So you sort of put it there. So we were talking the other day with Uli Monster about how the bare knuckle is, right? It's not the same than boxing, it's not the same than MMA, it's another
Yeah.
way. And people get so, no, that's brutal, and they're like animals, there is no technique. No. It's totally different, it's another world.
Yeah,
It's completely different.
the biggest misconception in combat sports is that bare knuckle fighting is more dangerous than boxing or MMA.
Exactly, that's what I want.
And there's been part of what's happened over the last couple of years in an effort to progress the legalization of bare knuckle is the doctors, the ringside physicians have done a medical study of every bare knuckle fight that's occurred. And the data has shown that it's 5 times less traumatic injury than MMA and 4 times less traumatic injury than boxing. Because 85% of the injuries are cuts. And so it looks more gruesome because there's a lot more blood, but the data shows less traumatic brain injury, less concussions, less serious injury. 85% are cuts, 7% is hand injuries, 4 or 5% is orbital fractures or nasal fractures, and then there's 3 or 4% that are concussions.
Yeah, boxing is constantly 10,
Yeah.
12 rounds, constant, 3 minutes, punching the
Yeah.
head, the
People-
brain gets
Yeah, people don't understand that the glove was invented to protect the hand, not the face. And so it enables someone to punch 100 times around. It enables someone to punch with such force because there's a few ounces of padding in the
Right.
glove. In bare knuckle, you have to be slick with your punches. You have to be efficient with your punches, and you can't just go in there and just throw 1,000 punches around. You'll break your hand. You'll walk into something. You can't do it.
Right.
Taking away the ground and pound aspect. So in MMA, which we see often, what I call bad stoppage. So you see a guy getting pounded, taking so many shots, and that's how guys get internal brain injuries, bad concussions. So I was not one of those people. I didn't think that bare knuckle was more dangerous, but by seeing the cuts. Every time I would see it before and after, I'm like, wow, look at the face. The guy's face is all that stuff. He's bruised. He's cut. He's this and that.
Yeah, but even if
How
the
long-
face is messed up,
how long
they
is
are
it-
not pretty boys, so it's okay.
But how long does it take for a bruise and a cut to heal?
Yeah.
A week, maybe a week and a half. So you see them, and after the fight, they're all bruised up. But a week later, they're fine.
Yeah, and we've showcased this on our last 10 or 15 shows. We take a before picture.
Yeah, I saw that.
We take an after picture, but then we take the after picture of 10 days later, and 90% of the face swelling is down.
Yeah.
They have some stitches, a little bruising, but they're good to go.
The other people that the people doesn't realize too much, or people doesn't know, is in the ground and pound and throw on MMA. Their punches, sometimes the punch is not so hard. But one thing is when you hit someone in the face with nothing in the back, like the
Yeah.
head moves. But on the floor, you have the support of the mat, on the floor of the pad, of the mat, of the ring, cage, whatever.
You can't miss it.
You absorb the full punishment.
Yeah.
So even if the punch is not so hard, it's even worse.
Yeah,
So I was the other day. I went to cover the event, and I was posting the videos of all the guys, and people write me from all around the world.
right.
No, but they saw the same. Listen. It's like fighting, not like fighting in the street, but the technique is different. The way to punch is different. The defense
Definitely.
is different. You don't have the glove to cover your head.
Right.
So it's another world.
Totally another
So
world.
you have to understand the sport.
Yeah, and we always ask people, Mike Vasquez poses this question to people. Would you rather get hit with a kick to the face, an elbow to the face, or a punch to the face? You know?
But usually we have to give answers to people who doesn't know shit about fighting, to
Right.
people who doesn't never step in the ring.
Right.
And the other day I went to see with Asim Sain in Karate Combat.
Karate Combat,
He,
yeah.
he did the event in his house.
Uh-huh.
And one of the friends was fighting with the guy, and he beat the guy in the head or whatever, and the guy was, you see the eyes, when you are fighting, you
Right.
realize how they do it. And there was a couple of influencers, hey, you are a fucking pussy, keep fighting. You don't have an idea. You don't have an idea. Sometimes a little touch on the chin, disconnect your brain, and you are there, but you're not there. So that's the misconception of the people, right?
And the thing is this, with our product, this is why I encourage people to come see it, because once you see it, your idea of what it is totally different from the time you walk in to the time you walk out.
Exactly.
And I guarantee that 99% of the people will be new fans of it. If they just, put their opinions to the side and come see the most exciting new sport that's out there.
The last one was crazy.
Yeah.
People was screaming, shouting, crying. It was good.
Yeah,
great show.
and the product is continuously getting better. The fighters who are participating are continuously getting better because now they're seeing that this is a legitimate sport.
Exactly.
In the beginning, it was a bunch of guys sort of at the end of their careers, just looking to make some money. So you're dealing with guys who are 45, 40, a little at the tail end of things. But now you're getting young kids who are in their early 20s who are saying, I want to give this a shot because this fits my skill set.
Right.
And similar to MMA, I mean, when MMA started, it was a bunch of guys from different disciplines who had never had an opportunity to showcase, so they're a lot older. And as time went on, now you have gyms full of people with little kids training from 8 years old becoming professional MMA fighters.
When I have people, again, always asking me from everywhere, but especially from South America, right? From Argentina, and people in Argentina love this.
Yeah.
They love it. Argentina, South Brazil, and they're asking me, how can I do to go there and fight? And like you say, young kids,
Yeah.
20, 25, 22.
The simple answer you can tell them is call Mel Valenzuela, Hall of Fame matchmaker,
Okay.
give him his contact information, we'll be glad to talk to him.
Okay, tell him to save 2 days because the
Yeah.
rest are calling him like crazy.
That's all right.
So
That's all right.
what we have? What's next for me?
We're going to be in Biloxi, Mississippi, February 10th. We're going to be in Tampa, Florida, April 4th. We're going to be in Denver, Colorado on May 10th. And then we're going to be doing a show a month for the rest of the year with other places that I'm working on right now, some exotic locations, and we're going to announce that over the next few
We're gonna
weeks.
be busy.
Yeah, very busy. We're looking to do about 11, 12 shows this year.
That's good.
Yeah,
Super busy.
yeah,
We were talking in the beginning how hard it is. League has Star Wars,
Yep.
and it's a hell of a show.
yeah.
Coordinating everything, babysitting the fighters, the music, the ticket, the food, is crazy. So 12 shows in a year at that level,
Yeah,
we have a hell of a team.
it's busy, but we have a small team, but a great team.
Right?
It's like an army unit,
What about the women? every day more women fighting.
Yeah.
And now in Bernard, because you say right before a box, you go see the woman in MMA, now woman in MMA, now woman in Bernard.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I mean, they are attracted to the fight the same way the men are attracted to the fight, and to be honest, their fights are traditionally more exciting. They last a little longer because there's not as much knockout power,
Yeah.
but these girls don't take one
Wow,
step
really?
backwards. No, they keep moving forward, they get punched in the face, and they'll get a couple shots, and they'll keep coming. And it's, like any other girl who does combat sports, they're intrigued by the sport itself, and
Right.
so there's a real interest in doing this and showcasing their skills. So we love having the female fighters. We think they're an integral part of our brand, and we want to keep showcasing them.
Well, the thing that I saw I went to a few events. How many families would you say?
Yeah, I mean
It's not only men. I don't know.
it's hard to say that it's a family-friendly event, but it is. I mean, there's kids there, there's wives, girlfriends, husbands. So it's not just male dominant. Because it's an exciting night out. A lot of the women come in and they see, they get a little, nervous, and then one
After 2
round
minutes,
in,
that's
they're cheering for it. So
Because the adrenaline that the people
Yeah.
are fighting, they transfer the adrenaline to the people.
yeah, and they hear the crowd, they hear the roar of the crowd, and they start to get excited and they get involved.
Nick, okay, you've been in other words, you've been in the kickboxing, Muay Thai, MMA, boxing, and now in Bernardo. Which one is the one that make your spine?
The one that's made me cringe the most where I'm watching it, and again, as a fighter, as someone who, appreciates the violence and can understand it, there's been times where I'm watching an MMA fight that I really have to cringe, and it's usually because of bad stoppage, where a ref is, the guy's out on his feet or on the floor, you can tell the guy's landing like an extra 10, 12
Yeah.
punches. And it makes me feel bad, because I'm like, this guy doesn't need to get hit this many times. The fight is over. We're just waiting on the ref to stop it. And usually you'll hear one of the top executives, the brass, Dana, or someone complaining about it after, which is, I think, one thing that is really good about, that I've seen about BRB is I've never really seen an issue with the reffing and the judging. It all seems pretty accurate, pretty fair. There's never been a decision where I was like, no way. But there's a lot of times when we're watching a boxing match, a la Lomachenko versus Haney, a lot of stuff like that. You're just like looking at it, and you're like, that's not who won,
Yeah.
But that is.
But that's the good thing about the Bernardo,
It's more pure. I think it's more pure.
Pure.
There is no protection of like, hey, you
Yeah.
came from boxing and you're undefeated, or you're an MMA champion, so you gotta shine your record.
Yeah.
We're gonna you lost the decision, but hey, we want to keep you going, so we're gonna make sure you won. It's nothing like that. There's no easy fights.
Yeah, I mean, part of what we do is first of all, we have one of the best matchmakers in the business. He's been a matchmaker in boxing, MMA, bare knuckle. He's done it all, so he's very well versed. And we don't try to put on gimme fights. We always say our opening fight can be a main event, so all our fights are 50-50. So that adds to the competition. But also in bare knuckle fighting, it's hard to withstand. Like in boxing, guys can withstand a few blows, or in MMA, like Nick was saying, they catch some ground and pound. In this, it's very decisive. 85 to 90% of our fights end in knockouts. So there isn't a lot that goes to the judges, and as a result, there's not many bad decisions.
But you can speculate. You're gonna let the guy punch me a little bit, so we get tired,
Right.
and I'm going after him. No,
No.
there's no room for mistakes.
There's no room to circle out. There's no room to work, to get on your bicycle. You have to be going forward. So it's like two cars crashing, and which is it's a little more a little higher knockout rate, but again, higher knockout rate, less injury rate, adds to the excitement.
Which one was the most exciting fight that in the BYB history?
I mean, for me,
One that you say, oh.
Yeah, I mean, one of the most exciting fights that I remember was LT Smash Nelson against Sam Liera. That was in South Carolina at the end of last year. It was a 5-round fight, and both guys got knocked down. It was super exciting. I mean, every time we put on an event, new guys are sort of stepping up and showcasing their skills. So it's really hard to say, but that one definitely stands out to me.
For you, Nick?
I mean, I thought you were gonna go with this one. I wasn't sure. But you know what? I gotta go with Mark the Shark Irwin versus Julio Tenori. The end of last year, Colorado. It was not just one of the best bare knuckle fights I've seen. It was one of the best, if not the best fight, one of the best fights I've ever seen in my life. Non-stop action, back and forth. Guys getting dropped. Julio got dropped. It was at the third round. I thought he was done. He actually. So when I rewatch it, this is what I tell a lot of guys: when you get the knockdown, to go to your neutral corner quickly, because the ref won't start counting until you go to your neutral corner. And Mark scored this devastating knockdown. Julio was laid on the floor, but instead of going right to the neutral corner, he kind of put his hand up and was celebrating. He thought he kind of got the walk off, the finish or whatever, and then the rest hadn't started counting yet. So then he put him in the neutral corner, and then he started counting. I think Julio got to 8 or 9. Yeah. He was pretty close, but he was able to continue. Wow. And then it just, from there, it was just, I mean, it was just pure action. Guys landing huge shots. Julio ended up taking the very close decision, taking the belt. It was definitely one of the best fights I've ever seen.
I put the highlights on there.
Yeah. Amazing, yeah.
And me, when I used to be a fighter, too, you know, the moments before the fight, when the adrenaline start pushing and you're thinking, what the fuck I'm doing here? But at the end we go, right? There was anybody in the history of BYB who said, you know what, I don't want to fight?
Yes. There has been. I'm not going to mention names.
Yeah, doesn't matter. But what happened?
But there was a fight a couple years ago, and I think it was when we did it in Doral, and someone fell in the bathroom. And
I've been there.
Yeah, and hurt their
head. And
head.
I've been there, and I think he gonna fight against
Desmond.
Yeah. I've been there.
Yeah. So. Yeah, we've seen guys lose their will before, and it happens. You know?
Maybe it was the floor was wet.
Yeah, maybe.
You never know.
Maybe a little slippery, but
that's a good strategy.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something really fast. How many bare knuckle fights do you think you've been in?
Me?
Yeah.
In the events, right? We're talking about event.
Any in your lifetime, like fighting someone just.
Me fighting?
Yeah. Bare knuckle, no gloves.
Yeah, like a street.
Yeah, like kind of like a street
fight. 3 times.
3 times? What's your record in those fights?
2 was you know my signature, right? The back spinning kick.
Yeah, okay.
That was one. Another one I was working like a bouncer long time ago when I used to be young, skinny, and happier and with more hair. There used to be a club on Ocean Drive, Teasers. That's when I came here in 2002, and I was working. I was trying to work whatever to pay my papers and that stuff. So I used to get the door like the guy, the VIP, and so it was started something crazy inside. When I said to check, and I always work with, because I'm kind of small. I used to work with steel toes boots. So whatever was a problem, I kick the people in the shin with it. Right? But one of the guys, one of the bouncers, and came to me, pushed me, and I went boom, I racket in the mouth. And the guy went like and came to me with everything. He grabbed me, lift me, and when I was to punch me in the front, the other bouncer catch him. That was the last ones in 2002, 2003. But not too many. Why?
I'm just wondering, so a lot of times when I'm talking to coaches, current fighters, past fighters, and I bring up the bare knuckle aspect to them, immediately, especially when they're like pure boxers or pure Muay Thai fighters, the MMA fighters are a little bit quicker because they were using the small gloves. A lot of times when I bring it up to these guys that are used to wearing the 12 or 14 ounce, 10 ounce gloves, they're immediately like, oh no, I wouldn't do that. But then I bring up compensation. So like, well, how much would it take you? How much money would it take for you to do a professional bare knuckle fight? Then they start to think, and it's funny because sometimes guys throw out big numbers. They'll be like $30,000, $40,000. Then other times a guy will be like $2,000. You kind of throw like a really small number.
I like this guy.
I can arrange that exactly.
But it's hard from my point of view. You know, a lot of people come to me to learn how to fight. Not to be in a fight, just learn how to fight to defend themselves.
Right.
So I teach them with gloves, shin, and sort of stuff. I also teach knife fighting, shooting, and because because the reality, I think sometimes I can take everything out and let's do some sparring. Don't go to the head.
And that's one of the things I think that fans at least find intriguing is it's relatable.
Right.
You know, most people have either been in a fist fight or seen a fist fight, and so not everyone can throw a spinning kick and do MMA or do a triangle choke, but everyone knows how to throw a bare knuckle punch.
Exactly.
So it's very, you know, it's intriguing to the common person who can say, well, you know, I've done that before.
Right, but the thing is, people doesn't realize when they see a fighter is punching, the hands. If you're not ready, if you don't know how to punch correctly, I let my people punch me in the forearms, in the elbows. Or I punch them with the knuckles on the, and it hurts a fuck.
Yeah, yeah.
It hurts. So that's not for everybody.
No, definitely not. I mean, I've been hit, you know, with a glove before, and you can take it a lot better.
Right.
You can't take 100 of them, but you can take one glove punch better than you take a bare knuckle punch,
Right.
most of the time.
Right.
So,
And the distance is different.
Yeah.
That extra inch of padding or half inch, it makes it different. It's a
Yeah.
different work.
Difference with being able to fit it in certain places where you're used to being able to block.
yeah, you can't
Because
block,
that's an
especially,
that's an
especially with the body.
The body is a thing. It's a slippery. The hands doesn't go in the same way.
Yeah, because they're used to something like this hitting you, and now you have something this size hitting you, it can sneak in there a lot easier.
Technique, but also your sweat.
Yeah.
So it's more slippery.
Yeah.
So they say no, there is a technique. No, there is a hell of technique.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You need to
Yeah.
have more technique than a regular.
I think the best bare knuckle guys I've seen so far really understand where they want to place the punches. Because there's certain parts, obviously, of your head that are a little bit harder.
It's a stronger body in the body.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and if you're not punching, not just punching correctly, but really, you know, making sure that fist is clenched, leading with the two big knuckles,
Right.
They're kind of maybe landing on their fingers first or the wrong part. You're hitting the wrong part of the head. That's how guys break their hands.
And you see a big difference on a guy who's making his, not debut in fighting, but his debut as a bare knuckle fighter, his first fight to his second fight. You know, first fight they don't really know what to expect. Like Nick said, they're hitting, you know, they're going a little wild sometimes, throwing, you know, leaping punches instead of keeping it tight and expending a lot of energy and hitting, trying to just hit you wherever they can. As they get to their second and third fight, they're a little more relaxed. They're a little more decisive with where they're throwing their punches. They're a little more, you know, it's not trying to throw as many punches, it's throwing smart punches.
Right. And it's more about getting in and out, the
Yeah.
mobility, and touch, and
Yeah.
as much damage as possible. But
Yeah,
instead going hard.
You don't see a lot of 5-punch combos.
Right.
You know, you see some 1-2s, but guys are getting in and getting out, touching, and you know, hoping to do damage and then slide out.
All right, guys. We're gonna close. Okay. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I'm gonna put information downstairs on the description about where they have to call or who has to contact to be if you are fighters who wanna get
If you want to fight bare knuckle,
wanna
oh,
fight
yeah,
or not, or if you know if you have some.
I forgot to mention myself. They asked me how much I would, if I was going to do a bare knuckle fight, how much it would cost. So, Mel, if you're watching, you're listening.
This is the number.
I would do it for. I would go 10,000. 10,000 would be Now it's win, lose or draw 10,000. I mean I'm gonna go in there to win obviously, but I feel like 10,000 would be enough. And this is my just my explanation when I talk to people is I used to fight in high school and
For
as an
free.
adult for free, and I didn't know how to fight.
Yeah.
Right now that I know how to fight, I mean I'll get paid for it, and mind you, I'm still like more like I'd be more anxious, scared, whatever you want to call it.
That is,
nervous.
but you're
But
one
I'll
of
do
the
it.
prettiest trainers that I have here. You know,
I thought
I have
I was the prettiest.
Domingo, I have Fatoni, Elizondo. Who else I have here? No. I want one training, a good looking training for South Beach,
Yeah,
especially.
keep the face looking good.
Okay?
Really
So
hands
maybe
on.
we can do a fight together. 10,000 and we fix it, you know.
Yeah, right. We fix it. It's gotta be
I felt on the third round, you felt on the second, draw decision, and then you're going home. Okay? Alright guys, thank you for
Thank
coming,
you for
okay?
having me, yes.
And guys, read the description down here on the post. You know, you will have all the information to contact these people if you want to get involved with the bare knuckle fights, okay? And if you want to become a man, you have to go to fighter, okay? And stop talking that, yeah, I'm a fighter, okay? Go to fighter with if you're so good, alright? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Diego.